Alrighty, folks, we're back at round 2 of this competitive modern league playing Blue-Red Gift Storm. We have lost the dice roll, so we're going to be on the draw again. 10's a bit funny. Like, we have all of our bits, so I think it's good enough. I'm going to keep this. I always feel like it's weird when you keep a hand that doesn't have any cantrips. And I feel like every hand could get better in the storm, so it's always like, But, I mean, we have a dork, we have a ritual, we have gifts, so that's not bad. Alright, looks like it's Boggles. Again, this is one of those interactive creature decks that tend to be a pretty good matchup, and it's pretty safe usually to just slam the Electromancer on, what's it called? Turn 3. Or turn 2, I should say, just because they have so few ways of interacting with it. I'll take it. I mean, they're leaving the Windswept Teeth up, but given that we drew 2 lands off the top, I think it's fine to just play the Electromancer here. Fetch tapped. Come on, fetch tapped. Yes! So, beat me this turn, opponent, or I got you. Basically, because we have Noxious Revival, we're able to cheat a little bit on mana, because if they give us the Manamorphose Pass and Flames pile, then, yeah, opponent's just cracking things so he can draw cards. Oh, and he finds the path. Oh, that's so brutal. Why do you gotta do that to me, opponent? Never lucky. So, yeah, it looked like there he just... Ooh, do we just get to go off anyways? Let me think. No, we still need one more turn, but we're the ones still asking the questions. Right, so what we can do... Can we just wait a turn is the question. Yeah, I guess we could just gifts on his turn, and then next turn pretty comfortably go off. Hopefully the opponent taps out. I would like that. Yay! We're not dead, that's the important part. I think this is the first deck that I've played that has a pretty decent matchup against Boggles, and it feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, because Boggles is kind of the bad person of every format. This is what we've decided. Alright. So, we need mana. So we're gonna get Desperate Rituals. We're gonna get Pyretic Rituals. We need our Metamorphose. And we are going to get Pass and Flames. Now, the reason we're doing it like this, like not grabbing a win condition, is remember that Gifts is going to go to the graveyard, so we're going to flash it back with Pass and Flames, no matter what. Let's see what the opponent gets us. Obviously, we know we have a dork and that the opponent's just dead, but I think what is correct for them to do is give us a Morphose Ritual, because they, with both the mana, we might be able to just go off without the dork. But I think actually if we're doing this pile, the opponents should be looking at it and thinking, oh man, I'm totally done. Because this is the, like, okay, I'm going to go off pile. Opponent's tanking about it, but just adjusting my little pop filter here. Got a little bit in my face. I'm a little bit under the weather. I was just visiting the States a couple weeks ago, this time planned visit for Thanksgiving, and I'm still a bit jet lagged and got a bit sick after the plane ride, so a little bit sniffly as it were. So forgive me if I'm moving around and playing with things, trying to make myself decent. Yeah, opponent's taking hard. I'm sorry, opponent, but you do not have a chance. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe opponent's tilting out. A lot of people don't like Storm, and one of the difficult things about playing against it is it requires your opponent, like, your opponent will spend a lot of time tanking. Even, like, the round one that we just watched, like, if I took my time and thought about it more, I realized soon afterwards I made a misplay. And, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of doing math, there's a lot of making sure, like, do I have enough mana to actually go off? Can I make this work? Especially if you're not going off with a dork or something like that, it becomes more of a concern. And you end up having a lot of tight kind of thinking. And I'm not gonna lie, when I started recording this video, I knew I was gonna make a bunch of puns because I was like, ugh, I know it's something that basically you have to be so concerned about your clock when you're going off on Moto. There's a lot of steps. You have to cast a lot of spells and resolve them in the correct order to be able to get your opponent. And so me thinking about, sometimes I get pretty close to going to time with this deck normally, so we'll see if I manage to time out at some point. Opponent's just waiting. Maybe they are just tilting out. I don't know. Hmm. Um, I guess this is a good time actually to talk about Madrid. And this weekend is GP Madrid. It's Team Unified Modern, and I am very excited to be going to be playing with Dan and Nathaniel. Dan obviously finished really well at the last GP we were at in Liverpool, where he finished 15th place. So, and Nathaniel's been putting up consistent results for a while now. So I'm the middle seat. Hopefully, I can kind of take some of their success. All right, puts one of the rituals in the graveyard. And I imagine he will put the passive flames, but let's see. So I put a stop on my upkeep there in case I want to Noxious Revival something back, and I'm pretty sure I just want to Noxious Revival back the Metamorphose to make an extra mana and draw an extra card. Unless my opponent gives it to me. Yeah, they do not. So, on my upkeep, let's draw extra card, Metamorphose, target. Alright. So, opponent looks like they F-succeed. And let's get this party started. Ritual, Metamorphose. So, because all of your rituals make red mana, you tend to get a little bit choked on blue. So it's important when you Metamorphose and you do have a lot of excess mana, make sure that you make some blue mana, basically. Ooh, Goblin Electromancer is kind of interesting. I think I will cast it. And now Passion Flames only costs 2, which is, frankly, sort of disgusting. We'll use a red. Desperate Pyretic. And we are going to Morphose again. Make a red. Make some more blue. Draw a card. We'll gifts now. Spend 1 red to do that. Absolutely disgusting. So now storm count is 12, so we have enough to kill our opponent if we cast a Grave Shot and just remand it back. So the correct thing to do is we're definitely grabbing Grave Shot. I believe we grab a remand. We have the Noxious Revival, remember, already in the graveyard. Metamorphose. Slight Or we'll just do Serum Visions. And basically this way, no matter what they give us, we're going to be able to get the Grape Shot back to hand. If they give us the remand, we win on the spot. If they don't, then we basically get to we have to pass and flames it back again, but should be easy enough to do with all the mana we have. But basically, Noxious Revival, put Grape Shot on top, Grape Shot you, pass and flames again, Grape Shot. So okay, they just gave us the remand anyways, so we'll put Grape Shot back on top. We'll target ourselves with that. We will Serum Visions. Bottom, I guess top. Woohoo! And we'll Grape Shot the opponent. We'll remand it while it's on the stack. Yeah, sure. Brawl also has loot text, so yeah, exactly. My opponent realizes what's going on, they scoop it up. So, against this opponent, so it's kind of awkward because they're gonna have things like Leyline and Rest in Peace. So I think we bring in some number of Warrens. Remand's kind of bad against our opponent, to be perfectly honest. So I kind of want Echoing Truth for those same things. When you cut two of the gifts, you usually cut a Pass in Flames. And I think I want to bring in two pieces of the puzzle basically here in case we get underneath some Graveyard Hate or a Leyline or something like that. I could cut the third remand as well, but it's nice being able to have the option to shoot it back, the Great Shot like that. The other thing, I'm actually going to cut a Brow here. Brow's a little bit better than Electromancer, but the reason why is because Boggles runs so little removal that it's way more likely that we're going to draw more than one Burrell and not be able to cast a second Burrell. So yeah. This looks good. Let's run it back. Woohoo! So Warrens is a little bit awkward against Boggles because like they have big, huge, lifelinky trample creatures, but at the same time they don't have a good way of dealing with Warrens. It's not like they can run Wrath of God in their Boggles deck. So it is a little bit awkward. And the other reason it's good is because if they're running ley lines, we need to be able to basically get around that. And Warrens does it pretty well. Oftentimes I've won against decks like this because the opponent mulligans so hard to leyline, and then you turn to go like Ritual, Metamorphose, Warren, just make a bunch of goblins. Let's go! So, hopefully something like that happens. We will see. Very interesting. Boggle seems to be on the uptick on Magic Online. I've played it more times in the last 2 days than I think I ever have on Magic Online in general. I think it probably has something to do with the Death Shadow decks and things like that, where Death Shadow just doesn't get to interact unless they Thoughtseize our Inquisition turn 1 and take the only Boggle. So, trying to think how good it is. Probably pretty good against something like Eldrazi-tron and stuff like that as well. But they have like engineered explosive after board. I don't know. Either way, I do not care about interacting with my opponent, so Boggles loses a lot of equity in this matchup, I would say. I mean, this is the same reason why, like, even though we lost to Dredge in round 1, I think it's a relatively good matchup, because it's like, yeah, like, Dredge gets a lot of points by being, like, an unfair deck that's really hard to interact with if you're trying to play creatures and stuff like that. This is an awkward hand. I do not like this hand. We're doing nothing early on. I'm gonna mulligan this. This hand I like a lot better. I'll keep it. I actually like empty here. I would like to draw empty and then draw a bunch of rituals. That would be cool. Like, empty is best in the first couple turns of the game as well. So that's really where you want to do it. I wonder why my opponent tanked so long in their hand. Curious. That's a ritual. I'll take it. Let's turn to you. So the only thing that, like I said, Warrens gets way more awkward, like when your opponent has Daybreak Hornet, because like sometimes you get to a point, unless you Warrens for a Magillion, which is definitely plausible, you get to a point where it's like, oh god, I can swing, but they're gonna eat my creature, and they're gonna gain as much life back. But the nice part is, usually, unless the creature is absolutely gigantic, what you can do is just make the board slow as heck and be like, yeah, it's gonna be super awkward for you to attack, dude. And when that does happen, that feels pretty good. Because basically, the longer the game goes on, the more advantage we are. Because we have the outright kill you condition, whereas our opponent has to find boggles and then enchantments and stuff like that. But I don't know. I will say that I'm by no means a Master Storm player, and it's a deck that I used to play tons of Death and Taxes, and when Death and Taxes, I realized like there were just so many decks that were starting to crop up that was so bad against. Scape Shift was getting really popular, Dredge was popular, and I was just like, okay, I'm tired of this. I need a change. I moved on to Storm, but I haven't played it for that long, and I feel like this is a deck that really rewards mastery. And so, I'm playing the best I can and doing a lot of practice, but I know I'd love to hear it. If you got comments, if you got suggestions, or you think things I'm saying are wrong, bad, fun, for sure, comment. Let me know what you think, because I'm interested. Core Spirit Dancer for the opponent. Okay, I will take one. Ooh, that's a good draw. Yes. So I'm trying to think. There's also the option to Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose, play God. No, I need one more ritual for them to do that. So I'm just gonna play the Electroman. See what the opponent does. Path is perfectly fine here as well. We get an extra land, and then we're just able to make 10 goblins next turn. Something like that, which is pretty reasonable. Spirit Dancer not bad. The games that I generally have lost that have gone long against Boggles have been when they've played Core Spirit Dancer and we're like at a stalemate, but it doesn't matter because they're playing auras and then drawing cards, and playing auras, drawing cards. Cartouche, sure. New addition to the deck, pretty slick. Okay, so it's boggling up this thing. You got a path, and a Ranker, 10/10. It's a lot of keywords. I will take it. Alright. So we can go Desperate Ritual, play Electromancer, Manamorphose, opt Warrens. And the problem is we can't chump this thing. So maybe it's better to opt first, see what we're getting to. Generally, it's better to use your cantrips before you start committing to using a lot of your spells, basically. So let's see. Do I want an island? No, I don't think I do. Noxious Revival is sort of interesting. Can I Noxious? Just like Slight. So Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose. I play the Electromancer, Manamorphose. Oh. And I can put a Manamorphose back on top. And then we can't chump the Spirit Dancer, unfortunately. So we can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if we draw another ritual, 9, which would lethal our opponent if they attack. I think that's our out. I think that's probably the best we're gonna get. So, Desperate Ritual, Morphose. We'll make a blue and red. Barbell Canal is okay, but not exactly what we're looking for. Well, Electroman. Noxious Revival back the Metamorphose. Pay 2 life for that. I guess we could have actually Metamorphosed, so we could have done it for free, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Blue, red. Blue, red. Oh, that's pretty strong. Sick. Because Spirit Dancer, believe it or not, does not have hexproof. Sweet. I guess we should have cast the Echoing Truth, gives us an extra 2, but I think it's probably fine. I'm trying to think. I think since we didn't do it then. Well, I guess I should have attacked with the Electromancer there. Whoops. Got a little bit ahead of myself. I kind of want the opponent to throw a Daybreak Coronet on the core Spirit Dancer as the thing, and that's why I'm waiting. Even though they get to like draw extra cards or whatever, I just want them to commit their mana to doing something with the Spirit Dancer and then go, nah, bounce it. It's a pretty sick draw off the top. Got pretty lucky there, not gonna lie. Better lucky than good, I always say. Play that Daybreak Cornet. Come on. I'm gonna laugh when they just go Engineered Explosives for 0. Rip your life. Oh. Crying. Yeah, I think it was probably right to just Echoing Truth on my turn, bounce this core Spirit Dancer, because then we get 2 more goblins, which means we can swing for 22 amongst 20 bodies. I feel like that's such just like taking that phrase out of context. Yeah, then we can swing for 22 amongst 20 bodies is pretty funny. It shows how ridiculous Storm is. This is turn 3 of the game. And this is the nonsense we're doing. Even Boggles is having trouble keeping up. Jeez. Opponent's doing a long tank. Yeah. Damage is done, buddy. It's gone. Sure. Come on, play like a Rancor or something. You can have that back, mate. No, I think you're just dead, opponent. So if we attack with everything, he has to block with everything, and all of our stuff lives. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Because he has to throw these 2 here, and 1 here. He goes to 1. Yay! Yeah. Good games, opponent, but, I mean, this is a really rough matchup for Boggles, like I said. Anyways, we'll catch you in the next round.